There is an explosion of newcomers in the technology and pharmaceutical space who are willing to pay big for long-term urban leases, and real estate developers taking notice. Alexandria Real Estate Equities, once considered a pure-play developer and landlord, has recently begun taking on clients like Uber, among others. The company announcing a full building lease with social media site Pinterest as well. Chairman and CEO and founder Joel Marcus is with me right now in a Fox Business exclusive to talk more about it. And Joel, it's good to have you on the program.
It's a real pleasure,
Thank
Maria.
you so much for joining us. First, characterize where you are right now. How did these transactions come about, and how's your business changing?
Well, I think it came about because we are actually uniquely the only company out there that's publicly traded focused on these irreplaceable urban campuses adjacent to major academic centers, attracting kind of the intersection of science and technology, really today's workers of the future. And one of the interesting factors is 10 years from now, 75% of the workforce will be millennials. They don't want to work in high-rise, kind of button-down, old-style office buildings anymore.
That's interesting because they want a campus. I mean, you look at, like, for example, the headquarters of Google, or some of these other big technology companies in California, and it's a campus.
It is. We, in fact, did Google's very first campus back in 1998 when they were private. They actually tore up the parking lot and put in a skateboard park without permission, and we had to kind of remedy that. But that's really, in a sense, the trend started, and over the last 10 to 15 years, everyone who is really in the bio and pharma industry, as well as the technology industry, want to be in these centers for really retaining and recruitment of great talent, the knowledge workers of today, and also the spontaneous interactions that happen between these really leading sectors that create some of the great products that you and I and everyone else will take advantage of.
I mean, all you have to see is that you're taking on folks like Uber and Pinterest. I mean, leasing activity reaching record levels for the company. You signed 1.9 million San Francisco square feet, rather, of leases in second quarter compared to trailing four-quarter average the quarter before. So how do you keep this going?
Well, I think what we have is a really sustainable and durable business model. It's one that when you own these campuses, we own the campus right across from MIT's Science Campus. We've redeveloped that campus, doubled the operating income. This is where today everybody wants to be. We signed big leases with Bristol Myers recently, with Sanofi in San Francisco. As you know, we've been able to attract the Ubers, the Pinterest, the Stripes. So we've really seen this interaction, and we're very pleased about it. Now you have the interaction between science and tech on these campuses adjacent to great universities, creating this spontaneous interaction and really a lot of great products. Some of the signature big data, some of the wearables, things that will make an impact on our lives tomorrow.
This is one of the biggest stories of our time, the marriage of healthcare and technology. Why so much of that in terms of new leases? Is because that's basically where the growth in our economy is, or is Alexandria actually offering something that appeals to those sectors?
Well, I think it's both. People want to be together in urban core. They want to be in 24/7 work-live environments. They want an amenity-rich environment. They want to be able to collide and interact, and then they want to be able to recruit and retain. And today's millennial workforce and a lot of the workers absolutely want to be in the city. They don't want to travel an hour and a half down to places like Mountain View anymore each way.
Tell us your plans in terms of funding and acquisitions in the future, because I know you've done a few acquisitions just recently, and you've also you're planning to fund near-term investments with some joint ventures and sales. How do things change? How are you positioning the company next couple of months?
Well, we grew up over a long period of time originally based on acquisitions. Today we're primarily a development company because we feel that if we can develop these rare urban campuses where we've got this insatiable demand, highest leasing quarter, as you mentioned before, we're going to be at the forefront of this industry. And today we are using our own capital rather than going to the market and selling stock so as not to dilute shareholders, to recycle and reinvest in new campuses. About 3/4 of our income now comes from these campuses, and about 53% of our income is investment grade income. And that's one of the reasons I think the stock has outperformed over the last couple of years.
It sure has outperformed everybody. The business of developing and real estate has been talked about because prices are going up. When does it become bubble-like territory for you that you feel like prices are not sustainable?
Well, luckily, we've owned owned a lot of the campuses. For instance, we're doing 2 million square feet of development. We finished about half of it in Cambridge. We bought and aggregated that 10 years ago. Mission Bay in San Francisco and south of Market, we've aggregated much of that over the last 10 years. So we actually have great stakes in the ground. We don't have to go do things today because we have a pipeline that will allow us to grow over the next 3 to 4 years. And Wall Street's taken big notice of that. So we actually don't have to go out and acquire. We can use our current inventory to turn land into cash flow.
And the companies that are coming in and doing leases are largely American. This is not foreign buyers.
But by and large, most of the Bristol Myers, although Santa Fe just recently expanded.
Yeah,
so I think it's a bit of a combination.
By the way, we've been talking about Donald Trump, and he's in your business, developer. What's your take on Donald Trump, since you know him as a businessman?
Well, I think everybody respects how creative and inventive he is. He certainly made a dynamic impression on the race, and I think brought a lot of excitement. I think when it comes to policy, there's an important bill right now before Congress, I think passed by the House going to the Senate, called the 21st Century Cures Act. It's backed by the administration and I think bipartisan, and it's aimed at funding more fully the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes of Health, both of which are critical to the biotech and pharma industry. It's
going to be very important for a lot of your companies that are leased in your buildings.
Indeed.
Joel, great to have you on the show today.
A real pleasure. Thanks,
so
Maria.
Much for joining us. Joel Marcus is the CEO of Alexandria Real Estate.